when things don't go to plan. I really think that trusting the process is such a lifelong practice, and I've talked about it before on this podcast, but for more so bigger life goals that don't happen in the way that we want them to. But in today's episode, I want to talk to you about the little things in life that don't go according to plan. And a lot of those little things have been happening in my life recently. Just small things in my daily life that didn't go the way that I had asked for or wished for. And in this episode, I want to give you 10 different tools or things that I do to not let it affect my mood in a negative way, or at least move back into a positive state as quick as possible. And I'm thinking that before we get into these 10 tools that we can use to quickly get into a better state, I want to give you a little insight into the small things that have happened in my life recently, because I feel like most of these things are pretty relatable and something that we've all gone through at some point. And I just want to say before we get into these that I've also had a lot of great things happen in my life, but I just want to give you a little taste of how I've used these tools, or when I've used these tools, whenever I've gone through these little daily challenges. I am currently in Mexico, and the internet and the power has been going in and out. And so I've had to postpone a lot of work tasks. And you know how when you wake up in the morning and you make a to-do list and then you're ready to go, but then suddenly you realize that there's no internet and then the power goes out. It's just a little bit frustrating that the things that you planned suddenly can no longer happen. The second thing is that I've been trying to find the right YouTube editor for a very, very long time now. I want to say since I started YouTube. And as my channel has grown, the more advanced, I guess, I would like my YouTube editor to be. But it's not just that, it's also having the same mission and purpose and the right style of editing. And I've been taking a lot of time out of my day to both find applicants and to do interviews. And I've tried out a lot of these editors as well. I just haven't found the right match. And YouTubers do say that you have to go through so many editors till you find the right one. And that's keeping me, in a good mood. But I do spend a lot of time doing this currently, also because I'm at a point where YouTube is the thing I want to do. Spending a lot of time and hours on doing that rather than the hours I could spend on other things that, of course, I would love to spend my hours doing. And the last thing that has been going on in my life, especially the last 2 days, is that I've been getting food poisoning here in Mexico. Especially the last 2 days. I've had 3 situations, and every time it's gotten worse. And 2 days ago, I started getting, food poisoning. And it was really intense, so intense that I literally couldn't even get out of bed and grab a glass of water. And at one point, I was shaking so much. Actually, fun point about the shakiness. When I was shaking that much, whenever I was in my mind, I was saying, or actually I'd lied loud sometimes, I would say, I got this. Thank you, body, for helping me fight this. Thank you, body, for helping me fight this. You're strong, you're tough. When I was talking to myself in that way, I could actually lower the shakiness of my body. I think I started doing this because I do this when I take ice baths. I calm my body and my mind by telling myself how grateful I am and that I'm okay, I can do this. I guess I do that when I work out as well. It just really is powerful. And the amount that I was shaking, I've never shaken that much in my life. And the fact that from me calming myself down, that I could stop the shaking was just insane. So little side note there. But yes, I have been having food poisoning, and this has of course led me to miss 2 days of work. And I actually also missed a plane. I was going to fly out of Mexico a day and a half ago, and I missed that flight. And but I'm feeling better now, and I'm trying to come up with a new game plan. So that's awesome. Also, with saying all of this, I think that there's a reason for everything. And with mentioning all of these things that have been going, I'm going to use air quotes wrong, because these are so tiny things, right? It's just relatable everyday things that can happen to all of us, and that I'm sure has happened to all of us at different stages. It's not massive challenges. It's just the little daily challenges that do happen. But through these, I have really felt grateful and really trusted the process. And yes, maybe in the moment I've caught myself feeling down or annoyed or frustrated, but then because I practice these simple little things that we're going to chat about now, I don't stay in that state for very long. I am able to completely snap myself out of that. And that's really powerful because, nobody gets anything out of staying low, especially over these daily things that can happen and that we are not in control over. So, of course, if we have any massive challenges come at us in life, we got to take care of those emotions that happen within when that happens. But when it's these small little daily things, of course you should allow yourself to feel down for a moment, but there's no reason to stay in it for longer than specifically needed. And I think that most of us know a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, at least the first part of what I'm going to chat about. But I often need reminders I always need reminders. I can never get too many reminders because every time I get a reminder, the more and the stronger it gets printed into my brain. And so my hope is that even if you've heard these things before, that it's more powerful next time someone cuts you off in traffic and you catch yourself being annoyed, that you catch yourself quicker and then you can snap yourself out of it, that negative energy. I have 7 quick ones that really bring me in a good mood instantly that you probably already are so tired of hearing of. So I'm going to really go over these very, very quickly. Yeah, there's no reason to go too much in depth with the things that you most likely already know. And if there's anything that you would like for me to go in depth with these first 7 ones, then let me know. And I would love to make another episode on it. But the first one is nature. I really just get energy from being around trees. For me, it's trees. For some people, it's ocean. I love the ocean as well, but just like nature, it just brings you into this state that is so energizing and powerful. So if you're ever feeling down, just go outside, walk in nature, spend time in nature, and you're going to feel so much better really quick. The second one is something I've been doing a lot lately because I've been doing a 10-day ice bath challenge. So that's just like either jump into a cold shower or a cold ice bath, and you're going to feel your energy shift really rapidly. It's really powerful. If you have never taken an ice shower or ice bath, or cold shower or ice bath, I really recommend that you try it out. And maybe you want to pause me right now and go do it. Or maybe tomorrow morning, I don't know, whenever it feels convenient for you. I really would highly recommend. And the third one is workout. We all know that working out makes us feel amazing. And what I always say to myself when I'm not in a good mood, or like I'm in a little bit of a lower state, or I don't really feel like working out, is just get there. And then I just start my warm up, and then I just start, okay, let me just do 1 set. And I kind of like cheat myself in that way. I think someone talks about this in a book. Is it like something about Atomic Habits? I think maybe he talks about it, but that's something I've done for years, and it's just so powerful. I just have a rule that I say, just get there. And then slowly, as soon as you get into it just a little bit, you'll start feeling better. And it's especially on the days where you don't feel like it, that it's just so powerful, because you walk out of the gym feeling like 10 times, a million times better than you did when you walked in. So just a little reminder again that it really, just getting there can be powerful. The fourth one is meditation. And we all know meditation can, like just a 10-minute or 20-minute meditation, if you're not feeling good, can really bring you back to a peaceful state. And yeah, it's awesome. And then walking or running is great. Again, that's like, for me, it's like, okay, just walk out the door, put on running shoes, just walk out the door, and then either run or walk. And it just really quickly gets me into a good state. And then the sixth one is journaling. And that's something I've talked about a lot as well. I'm just going to give you some journaling prompts right now that you can use next time you may be walking towards a challenge. What if I wasn't afraid? I did this the other day, and I just wrote out, like, what if I wasn't afraid? I would, and then I would just fill out, I think I ended up filling out like 3 pages of like, if I wasn't afraid, I would blah, blah, blah. If I wasn't afraid, I would da, da, da. If I wasn't afraid, I would da, da, da. And I ended up coming up with so many things that, I mean, they seemed like obvious, but because I hadn't put them on paper, I hadn't started doing them. And then I put them on paper, and my entire day was just incredible because I ended up doing majority of the things that I had written on that list of if I wasn't afraid. And it's just powerful. So definitely try that one out. Another one is if I was the best version of myself, I would. And you can do that again, just like fill out a full page of if I was the best version of myself right now, what would I do? Because then I think that the incredible ideas will come out. Then I also like to write down my dreams. I like to write down the ideal day in my life, what that would look like from the beginning when I wake up in the morning till the end of the day when I go to bed at night. And I like to write it in as much detail as possible because I really think law of attraction is a thing. And when we do that, then we kind of, manifest it. But also when we do it in detail, it's as if we almost step into what that would feel like, and that just naturally makes us feel good. And that's really the point of this whole episode, is to go back to feeling good, right? And then another one is just write down a ton of things that you're grateful for. Literally just write a great gratitude list, and that'll most likely make you feel really good. I think they say that you can't feel, if you're feeling grateful, you can't also feel a negative emotion. So that will like overrule any other negative emotion that you maybe were feeling before. So those were the journaling prompts. Now we're going to go into some more in-depth, the last 4 things that I feel are really powerful. And number 7 is manifestation, but not in the manifestation journaling exercise example. It's a little bit different. This is where you step into a specific situation that you want to create in your life. And athletes do this when they're competing, and you hear about so many successful people's stories who've done this. And I've done it in my life as well. When I've wanted to manifest something, I've closed my eyes and really created a situation that I wanted to happen in my life, like very, very specific, and like seeing the colors and every detail and the smells and almost like feeling it. And I think one story that I heard that always was in the back of my mind that I thought was so powerful. I think Jim Carrey made a speech about this, and you've probably heard about it, but it's so powerful. So I'm just going to share it. And what he says, Jim Carrey, is that when he was broke and poor, he would visualize directors being really interested in him and praising him for his work. And he wrote a check for $10 million. And then he dated it 5 years in the future. And he did that for Thanksgiving. And the check was specifically created for some acting services that he had done. And then he kept this in his wallet for like the next 5 years. And then literally right before Thanksgiving, 5 years later, he found out that he was going to make these $10 million for the movie Dumb and Dumber that he was in, which is just, I get shivers just saying this out loud because I think it's so powerful. Also because I feel like I can relate that I've done things in my life where I've manifested things, and it wasn't until after it had happened where I was like, wait, shit, I manifested this. This is crazy. So if you have something that you really want to have in your life, like really create a scene, and kind of like how Jim Carrey wrote a check for himself, like what could you do that would represent you actually achieving that thing so that you would believe like you'd already done it. I really want to create an episode just on manifestation because I think it's powerful. Maybe we could bring on some manifestation queen or king who knows what they're talking about. I'm really just can talk from my own experiences, but it's really powerful. So if you can create a scene in your mind and then just think of that once a day, I think you'll be surprised of what could happen and what could come from that. Okay, number 8 is helping others. The other day was thinking back to what were the times during my Tulum trip that I have felt the most joyful, like for real, like inner joy? And what came to me was the times that I had helped someone. A few times I've seen kids on the street that I gave food to or money to. And when I did that, it just made me so happy. Like that just made me so happy. And I think that we can all relate to that when we give or help someone else. We feel so good afterwards, like way better than we would if we'd given ourselves that, which is actually crazy, but that's just usually how it is, right? Like when we do something good for someone else, we feel really good. And in this situation, if you're trying to make yourself feel better because something had gone wrong throughout your day, and you do something for someone else, then it's almost selfish, but really you will be helping that other person, but you'll also be helping yourself. And I just think it's such an important reminder that if you're feeling low, it's really also because when we are feeling low, we are focused on ourselves. We're focusing on our own problems, on the things the things that are going wrong in our life. But if we just focus on helping someone else, we'll move away from feeling pity for ourselves and into helping others. And that is just instantly gonna help make us feel better and hopefully make them feel better as well. So that's just like such an important reminder whenever we're feeling low, every day. I would hope that we could all do something for someone else. And I think that that's how we make a better world, right? Number 9 is Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you are familiar with Abraham Hicks. If you're not and you're ever in a low state, actually you should check him out on YouTube. There's a lot of animation videos on YouTube where you can hear him. I don't know how much I should get into this, but really what Abraham Hicks is this group of entities that are interpreted by this woman named Esther Hicks. You can look into it yourself if you want. It's a crazy story, but they talk about this rampage of appreciation, which is something that I will often use if I'm in, something has gone wrong. And what it really is just that you literally just are where you are, and then you think of all the things that you appreciate. It could be, I'm so grateful for this light. I'm so grateful for this food. I'm so grateful for the heaven. I'm so grateful for this coffee. I'm so grateful for this microphone that allows me to record this podcast. I'm so appreciative of the fact that I have a computer. I'm so appreciative of the fact that I've learned to be able to write and speak so that I can speak this podcast. And then you keep going and going and going. And also, I know that didn't make any sense, but I guess I don't think it needs to make any sense for anyone other than yourself, but really just like keep going and going and going, just thinking about all the things that you're grateful for that you could appreciate. And trust me, it's going to make you feel really, really grateful, which I think is the best feeling in the world, right? So if you just keep going, you could even set a timer. I don't know if this is something they say you should do, but if you set a timer, then at least you have a goal for when you can stop, so that you go for as long as you would actually like to go for, and to know that it's effective. But yeah, powerful stuff. And the last one, number 10, is something that I recently started doing. And that is because I feel like sometimes I can maybe be hard on myself, and I think a lot of us can, and it is giving myself love as I would if I was my own 5-year-old self. So if I see myself as this little girl, how would I give her love? How would I care for her? How would I hug her and appreciate her and tell her how well she's doing and that everything's going to be okay? And I feel like when I talk to myself that way, I feel so loved. That little girl inside of me feels so loved. If you're ever going through a rough little moment, day, then find that 5-year-old, 3-year-old, 2-year-old, maybe 10-year-old self inside of you that you can say a few words to. because I think a lot of us tend to be hard on ourselves, and we don't deserve that. We really don't. And I think that when we remind ourselves that that little child is still inside of us and we can talk to that little child, and I don't think any of us want to be rough on that little child. So it's just a good way to be kind to ourselves. These 10 things really help me just trust the process when things aren't necessarily going the way that I want them to. And from all experiences in my life, I just have really found that there is a reason for everything. Like every time something goes wrong, I may not be able to see it in the moment, but afterwards I know that there's a reason for it. So there's no reason for me to dwell in that little stuff that goes wrong, because it's just going to make me stronger. It's just going to help lead me down towards the direction that is of the highest good for all. And I know that some people don't agree with me saying that, and that is totally okay. I don't want for us all to agree. The world would be boring if we all agreed. And it's good that we can challenge each other and challenge each other's thoughts, as long as we do it in a loving way, right? I love to have conversations with people who maybe have other thoughts on how the world is put together than I do, because then my worldview gets challenged. And when it gets challenged, then really that's the way for me to grow. So a little sidetrack on the fact that we don't need to all agree. But for me, I think that there's a reason for every single negative things that may seem as negative comes into my life, because there's a reason for it. Like the fact that I didn't catch my flight out of Mexico, I'm sure that a little bit later, I'll realize why I had to stay here for a little longer, and that this new plan that I'm going to come up with, that's going to be far greater than what I originally had planned for. So yeah, just really trusting the process and being able to snap out of that negative flow as quick as possible. And I would say that, yes, I'm talking about these 10 things as for when small things happen, but I also use them when big things happen. Actually, I use them even more when big things happen, because that's when we're really open and willing to this guidance that is for us, and willing to, like, wanting to get back into feeling good again. So I really hope that you found it useful and that it can help you a little bit next time you're having a bit of a rough day. If you're new to my channel, it helps out a lot if you would subscribe. I'm still a little new to this podcasting world, so I'd really, really appreciate it. And if you feel like it helped you and you think it could help someone else, then I would love for you to share it with a friend or on social media. And other than that, I really hope that you have a good day and that you stay nice and kind to yourself. And always remember that to grow, you got to challenge your norm.